Coach of the year prediction, and then we'll do player of the year. Russ, we'll go to you first. Is Painter going to win it again?
I don't think so. I don't think you can be picked to win the conference once
You're
again.
fired.
Have won it 2 years in a row, and you win it again. Even though we lost Zach Edey, it's one of those things where you hear people saying, "Oh, Purdue's not going to finish top 4. They're going to be disappointing." But when he does it, they're going to go, "Oh, well, of course he did it because it's Matt Painter. He always does it." So
Well, we did
he's
all pick Purdue
so
to be in the top 4 of the Big Ten tournament. So
true. That's what I'm saying. That's like so. It's but
Okay.
I think it's gonna be coaches again. So I'll follow that pattern. I think it's been 2 years in a row they've done a Big Ten Coach of the Year, and I think it's going to be Jake Diebler and Dana Altman. For those that are not familiar with Oregon brand of basketball and the Oregon coach, Dana Altman's 2 or 3-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. He did make a Final Four out there, so I think he's going to fit in well with the high level of coaches we have in this conference. And I know he's picked 6, so he's got some respect. But if he finishes, top 3 in this conference, I think he could garner some Coach of the Year votes, at least, if not the award itself.
Boy, if Jake Diebler wins Coach of the Year, I will pee myself. I'm so excited. Okay, Dylan, your turn.
Hey, there's been a lot of bold promises on Twitter that nobody's followed through with, so we need you to.
I didn't promise that. I just said it.
Clip that.
What are we on, an hour 2? Okay, I gotta put that in my notes. I'm gonna go with Matthew Curtis Painter, the most handsome coach in the Big Ten, best head of hair. When he wore suits, he kind of looked like a mob boss, and I loved it. That's why I miss the suits. But I'm telling you, and Matt Painter, I trust. He's really all we got going on at Purdue Athletics. Because, well, no, I say there's a few others. Volleyball coach just became the most winningest coach in program history, and there's a few other good ones. Anyway, no, I'm going to go with Matt Painter because I love Matt Painter. Gave him a big old hug a few weeks ago. Felt real good about it. But yeah, Matthew Curtis Painter for Coach of the Year.
I mean, if he's like emanating like perfection, I mean, I don't know how you don't pick
People
him.
walk up to him and they're just
just bow. Okay,
Painter, Painter.
They're gonna be chanting his name like they did PJ Fleck after he beat USC.
Hey, he's not nearly as whack as PJ Fleck.
We have never brought up PJ Fleck so many times in a basketball episode. This is
PJ Fleck. We'll do it again.
All right. John says Brad Underwood. That's his pick. If Brad finishes up there, could definitely happen.
Somebody's angry grandpa.
Philip says Greg Gard wins Coach of the Year because of low expectations, and he always tends to exceed. That's interesting because if he doesn't do well enough, he would possibly win Coach of the Year while his fan base is simultaneously trying to fire him. That would be awesome. I love that.
But in that's also just an average Greg Gard year. Does he win Coach of the Year in years prior? How many times has he won it?
More than Brad Underwood.
I think he's won it.
Really? Then yeah, hey,
that
was a genuine question. I was wondering. I think that sounds like a go-to guard year. So
I don't know. I think Greg Gard gets fired soon. Chris Holtmann won it, and then he got fired years later. Greg Gard wins it, he gets fired years later. That's my thought. And then Brenton said Woodson easily when he wins the Big Ten. There we go. I do think if Indiana wins the Big Ten, you have to give it to Woodson, right?
Even though
he has so much talent that I'm like, I don't know if he deserves it. I mean, I would want to give it to him, but there's so much talent on this team. If he wins with this team, it's nothing incredible. That should be what's expected.
I know, but we put enough
money and resources behind this whole operation.
Yeah, but people were literally trying to fire him last year. I don't know.
In an 18-team Big Ten, if you win the Big Ten, you should be Coach of the Year regardless of what expectations were or talent level. Because I hate when coaches get docked. Like I would push for if IU wins it, I would push for Woodson to be Coach of the Year. If Illinois wins it, Underwood should definitely be Coach of the Year because you shouldn't get docked for the talent on your roster because you put together that roster. And in today's day and age, how hard is it to put together a roster with NIL and transfers and, you also have to go talk to freshmen still or high school players still to get them to come in as freshmen. So if you win the Big Ten, I think you should be at the very least Big Ten Coach of the Year, if not outright Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Philip filling in for Ken. He says Chris Collins because Ken is
boo Kent. Boo.
No, I mean, pick third and last in the conference. If they push for a top 4 seed like they've done the last couple of years, I think that's a good case.
I mean, but how many times does Chris Collins have low expectations and then finish top 4 and we're like, oh, nobody saw this coming? It's like, guys, he's done it the past 3 years. Like, it's kind of like the Painter thing where it's like, oh, well, he's done it the past 3 years and then we didn't think he would. Oh, my goodness, now he did it. Like, oh, wow. I don't know. I always have a hard time with the coach of the year because, like, there is an aspect of it of, like, low expectations and exceeding them that I do think kind of gives you coach of the year, thought process. But I'm with you, Russ. Like, you had the bad talent or you didn't put together a good roster. Like, is it really Mike Woodson's fault that he went out and put together a good roster? Is it really Matt Painter's fault that he won the Big Ten the last 2 years, possibly 3 years if he wins it this year? Like, I mean, at a certain point it's like maybe he was just the best coach in the Big Ten this year and we just need to give him the award for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Russ, I agree with, like, it should be on that merit, but this award, more than most awards, pretty much all I would say, is narrative driven. It's going to be a narrative that wins this, and that's why I agree with your Altman choice. I just feel like whoever out of that West Coast, all we're going to hear about is how much they've traveled all season long. Look at the hours these guys are logging. Whoever is able to navigate that respectively is definitely going to be in that inner running of the coach of the year, I think.
I'm glad you said that, Burke, because my choice for Big Ten Coach of the Year is Mick Cronin. If Mick Cronin finishes and gets to the top 4, I think that he gets that consideration, basically for the same reason that you guys said about Dana Altman, because he was 500 last year, didn't make the tournament. If he gets to a bye in the Big Ten tournament, they're going to give him the consideration for that. So,
hey, Dylan Guggenheim's here.
I know, that's why I was dancing. He hit 2,000 subs. Let's go, Guggenheim! Let's go! I love me some Zack Guggenheim.
We did get 2,000 subs this morning. That was really cool. I got an email from YouTube, and they put like the confetti in it and everything. So that was
when do
really
you
nice
get one of those
YouTube.
fancy plaques?
I think you have to get to like 1 million. So we're like
100,000, I think.
Close.
Okay. Well, actually, we're closer than I
Rome
thought.
wasn't built in a
2%
day.
there. We are
Guggenheim, I
2%
gave
there.
you a shout out earlier in the show. Good to see your handsome. Well, I can't see your face, but you get. Hey, he's an admin. Why can't I be a? What do they call in the comments? Not an admin. Moderator.
I guess I could make you one. I never thought that you would want that kind of responsibility.
It's probably dangerous. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. The podcast might explode. David French says Brad Underwood has not won Coach of the Year. Should have last year with keeping the team together with all the TSJ stuff. Who won it? The co last year was Matt Painter and was it Collins or Hoiberg? That's right.
Yeah. I think that's what we're moving towards. I think you're going to have a narrative coach that gets co-coach, and then whoever wins the Big Ten will get co-coach. I think that's essentially what you'll see happen pretty commonly now.
Well, we have all these like defensive player of the year, like player of the year, freshman of the year, transfer of the year. Like we should have like a new coach of the year, a narrative coach of the year,
or just do coach of the year and then most improved coach of the year. Like,
yeah, your player went to court and you kept your team together and you won coach of the year. Like these should all be awards. Right? I mean, David's the one that brought it up.
It's on David, not on you.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a bad point. I mean, that was really hard to keep all those guys together. So
Guggenheim, I love you and I want you to know that.
I mean, but the problem is where are they going to go? Like what? Like, hey guys, don't quit playing basketball because your guys. Like usually that pulls them together. Like usually adversity, like they fight for their teammate. They fight like usually. I mean, I don't know.
I guess I am kind of creating a double standard here because I ranked Jim Harbaugh last right away with when he got suspended for the second time, but I don't know. He got suspended, so I feel like that's a little different than somebody getting.
Who was the kid that broke a window of a fast food restaurant with a brick?
Yeah, and you're right, Philip. He got he got acquitted from all the charges. He's not guilty. Yes. Yeah.
Philip's a lawyer in his day job.
Honest to God, I kind of judged.
I'm glad he came
wrong.
back to play since he was not guilty. I mean, I would have hated that if he missed the entire season.
Hands up, like my inner voice was judging that whole situation wrong. Like credit to Brad Underwood for sticking by his guy.
Well, I
like,
think
even when he was playing him, and I was like, oh, I don't know if you should be playing him. Like based on everything that came out regarding that, it's to stick by him through that. That's, I mean, credit to Underwood.
Oh, there you go, JR, a Kyle McCord reference.
I don't dislike Kyle McCord as much as other people do. I mean, I do think Ryan Day deserves credit. He went 11-1 with Kyle McCord as his quarterback.
I don't know. Eric and Wildman.
Everybody just wants to say the top 5 record. I get it. Whatever.
Eric and Wildman were dancing on his grave on the OHIO pod.
Well, yes. they're a little bit more dancey than I am.
Those are big guys dancing too. Let me tell you, those are not light fellas.
You do
Cutting the
not
rug.
want them dancing on you.
They may fall through.
All right, Burke, you're coach of the year.
Oh, I said Dana Altman.
Oh, did you? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Well, you didn't say Woodson, so. Is there a Twitter account out there that's like a spoof of like Woodson's goatee?
Oh, there there's everything. Like, of course there is. There's
I'm
Woodson.
sure there has to be.
Yeah.
My high
All
school
right.
has started wearing candy striped pants, and I'm about to write them a letter saying, "What are we doing?" And we're navy blue and white. It's not even the same colors. I'm about
That
right
makes
in
it a
the
little more
street.
excusable, but